It was a quiet Wednesday evening at a small grocery store in Vancouver. Snowflakes clung to the glass door, and the smell of fresh bread drifted from the bakery section. Daniel, a single dad in his late 30s, was pushing a cart with his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, giggling as she tossed apples into the basket. Life hadn't been easy for Daniel since his wife passed away 2 years ago, but he had learned to find joy in the small moments with his daughter. Tonight was just another grocery run, until he reached the checkout line. The cashier, a young woman in her early 20s, greeted them with a polite smile, but Daniel noticed something strange. Her hands trembled as she scanned the items, and she kept glancing toward the floor like she was trying to hide it. Daniel thought maybe she was just cold, but the store was warm. When she tried to put a loaf of bread into a bag, she dropped it. She apologized quickly, her voice shaking just as much as her hands. Daniel didn't want to embarrass her, but he also couldn't ignore it. As she handed him his receipt, he quietly asked, "Are you okay? Why are your hands shaking?" The girl froze for a moment, her eyes welling up with tears. She looked around to make sure no one was listening, then whispered, "I haven't eaten since yesterday morning." Daniel's heart sank. He wasn't expecting that answer. She explained in a low voice that she had been working double shifts to pay for her rent and college classes. After paying her bills, she barely had enough left for food. Today, she gave the last sandwich she had to her younger brother before heading to work. She had been running on nothing but coffee and water for nearly 2 days. Lily tugged on Daniel's sleeve, sensing the heaviness of the moment. "Daddy, can we help her?" she asked softly. Daniel smiled at his daughter and turned back to the cashier. Without a second thought, he pushed the groceries they had just bought to the side and told the cashier, "Please scan them again, but add whatever you need for yourself. No arguments." The girl shook her head, embarrassed. "I can't let you do that. You've already paid for your things." But Daniel didn't budge. He walked over to the shelves and began loading a basket: bread, milk, fruit, pasta, even a few treats, then set it on the counter. He told her, "If my wife were here, she'd tell me this is exactly what I should be doing." And she'd be right. When the groceries were bagged, Daniel handed them to her. She tried to speak, but could barely get the words out. "You don't know what this means to me," she whispered, her voice breaking. Daniel simply smiled and said, "One day, when you can, help someone else. That's how we keep this world from falling apart." As Daniel and Lily stepped back out into the cold, snow still drifting from the sky, Lily looked up at him and said, "Mommy would be proud of you." Daniel swallowed hard, blinking away tears. He knew she was right. That night, the young cashier went home with enough food to last her and her brother for weeks. She told him later that it wasn't just the groceries that changed her. It was knowing that kindness still existed, even in a world that often felt cold. For Daniel, it was a reminder that sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply notice when someone is struggling and care enough to ask. One quiet question, "Why are your hands shaking?" had turned an ordinary grocery run into a moment that none of them would forget.